The family of Virginia Giuffre have told Sky News they've been given hope by a UK police investigation into Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor over allegations of sexual misconduct. The former prince has denied any wrongdoing. Virginia Giuffre sued Prince Andrew over claims of sexual abuse before her death last year. And I've been speaking to her brother and sister-in-law, Sky and Amanda Roberts. The first question is your reaction to what the police here in the UK have said today about their investigation.
I mean, I think initially it's very encouraging. You know, initially it was only, we were hearing that it was going to be investigations of conduct, like sharing government information. And to hear that the potential of investigating sexual crimes, that is huge. It is more than what we're seeing here in this country. And it actually gives us hope. You know, and Virginia paved the way for that if it wasn't for her courage and her bravery and being persistent in her truth, you know, we wouldn't be here. And we are so thankful for the Thames County Police to really be taking this seriously. And it was a good news for us today. So I think we're very hopeful.
Sky, let me pick up on what Amanda said there about the differences between the authorities in the UK and their approach and what is happening in the US. What is the difference as far as you're concerned?
It is a stark difference between what's happening here with our own Department of Justice and the FBI, withholding information from the people of the UK, the people of the United States. I mean, I have documents right here that show redaction after redaction after redaction of perpetrators' names, people that are involved in the files. And so I think that's what we need to be taking seriously, and that we need to be showing to the Thames Valley Police, to the Metropolitan Police, and encouraging them to reopen up the investigations into sexual allegations against former Prince Andrew. So stark differences. We really hope that this is a step in the right direction, and I encourage the Thames Valley Police, like, we are cheering you on, and the people of the UK, good on you. Great job keeping the pressure on. Continue to do so. We're doing it here in the US as well.
We know through the release of the Epstein files so far that there are hundreds, maybe thousands of victims of Jeffrey Epstein. In terms of the police asking potential victims to come forward, can you understand why it might be difficult for some of those people to do? They will be aware of what happened to Virginia Giuffre, your sister, Sky. They'll be aware of her not being with us anymore. Can you understand that there might be reticence on the part of possible victims in speaking to the authorities when they might just want to draw a line on what happened in the past?
I think we understand more than anyone. I think we saw the toll that it took on Virginia when she first came forward and the public opinion of her, but it was her persistence and her standing in the truth that we're here today. And we don't take that request lightly because we understand what it takes to come forward, the bravery, the courage. But I would also say that the world is listening in a way that it wasn't listening before. The evidence is so unsurmountable. I mean, 3.5 million files are publicly released. There's 3 million more. And the way that we do this together. I think the survivor community is open and ready to offer that community of support. I think it's also important that they feel safe to come forward, safe from their own police departments, that they are going to take their claims seriously and investigate, that they are protected legally. And so I would say it's really important for the local community in the UK to stand up for them, to provide the resources that they need, like legal support, community, mental health therapy. And so that is what we have been trying to push for here. And when you come together as a village, it is possible. And so that's what I would say. And I do want to say the large part of why Virginia is not here today is not because the predators of Epstein got her. It is because of systematic failure again that happened in Australia. And so there's so much more.
Sky, there may be witnesses, there may be victims, there may be people who call themselves survivors who are seeing you speak to me right now. What would you say to them directly?
That is an incredibly thoughtful question, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate it because, you know, to any survivor or victim listening, I want you to know that you're believed, and I want you to know that you're heard. And what Amanda just said is incredibly important, that the day and age is just very different than when Virginia trailblazed. And people are believing survivors now. And I just want you to know that we welcome you into this community with open arms. You know, it's a saying in the survivor community that alone we're afraid, but together we are feared. And that is so true. I hope that you find the courage and strength to come forward. I want you to know that we do not take that lightly, but we 100% believe you and we're here for you. And these files, they speak for themselves. These perpetrators can no longer hide. We live in a different space now, and Virginia helped pave that way. So thank you. I hope that you come forward, and we're here for you when you're ready.
Now, of course, this specific investigation involves the brother of the king, the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. We're only a few weeks on from King Charles's state visit to the US, and I know you tried to meet him, you wanted to speak to him, that didn't happen. Given these developments now, how do you feel about the royal family, the king? Do you have any sympathy for the position that he finds himself in?
I think we can relate. I think we can relate. It's so close to home. It's so close to family. I understand the corner that you're placed in, and you're talking about the future of your monarchy, and I think that's what needs to be in the forefront of your mind, the future. Your children, and what legacy will they have when they're ready to come forward? What is the precedent that you want to set with the monarchy and the examples that they should be leading for the people of the UK? And so this has never been easy. It was something that weighed on Virginia her entire life, and I think it's time for the truth to come forward.
But just on that point about the king, the queen, the wider royal family, Prince William, the heir to the throne, what could they realistically do when there are proceedings active in this situation? The case is moving forward, perhaps slowly, but they can't do an awful lot, can they, Sky?
So in terms of like legal ramifications, I'm not quite sure. I mean, of course, they could apply the pressure, but I think what they can do is they can set a precedent that the rest of the world can follow. You know, in specific, the President of the United States has yet to acknowledge survivors. He continues to call it a hoax. And, you know, even our DOJ continues to dismiss survivors. Former Pam Bondi, right? She's no longer in office because of this. So I just think it's an acknowledgement piece that allows the space
happened, though,
for survivors.
Sorry to interrupt. I mean, that has happened. We've had statements from the King and Queen acknowledging victims and saying their thoughts are with them. Which I
understand that they are saying they acknowledge it, but I think actions are louder than words. We were footsteps away from him in Washington, D.C., alongside probably between 10 and 15 survivors. For him to take 3 to 5 minutes out of his day just to look them in the eye and say, hey, I will give you a fair investigation in this, and I promise as the King of England that I am going to set a precedent. It was more about the precedent than it was just about, hey, I've acknowledged you. Okay, you've acknowledged us. I appreciate that. We've given you more than enough accreditation to that. I just think it was a missed opportunity.
The question I'd like to ask you both really is, given all you've gone through, having lost your sister-in-law, how do you keep going with all this? How much of a toll is it taking on you personally?
Our whole world has changed. It's a toll, and it's a club that you don't want anyone to join. You don't want to join. But we keep fighting because it matters. We keep fighting because Virginia mattered, and what she did mattered, and she changed the world, and there was no way that we could just let that fall by the wayside. I think we do it for every single survivor who still hasn't come forward. And we found some healing in the community. We found some love and some sisters in the survivor community. And we keep going. We take it day by day. And, you know, we reach out. We reach out and we lean into one another.
Let's bring in our royal correspondent, Laura Bundott, now. And of course, the former Prince Andrew, Laura, has denied any wrongdoing, but nevertheless, an emotional response there from the brother and sister-in-law of Virginia Giuffre to yet another change in this incredibly slow-moving and very long-winded investigation.
Yes, and I think it's been very interesting, hasn't it, hearing from Thames Valley Police about this, to us, new direction the investigation is taking, but it is a wide-ranging investigation, and they have simply outlined just how wide the scope of that investigation is. But certainly, I think, hearing from the family of one of Andrew's accusers, you get a real sense of the emotion there, a sense of their optimism and the hope that it could encourage other potential victims of Jeffrey Epstein to speak out as well. So I think the news from Thames Valley Police that they are going to look further into sexual offences is significant, because it does indicate that that team that is investigating thinks there could be some evidence or sufficient evidence to justify exploring whether criminal sexual conduct may have occurred. Now, Andrew has always strongly denied any wrongdoing, but many are saying this is a moment. But you're right, this investigation, it is far from over. It is complex, it is complicated, and many say, look, these sorts of investigations, this sort of scope is a very hard one to prove, but actually others say, well, look, once certain aspects of any investigation regarding misconduct in public office, once certain aspects are met, then they're relatively straightforward cases. But we're far from that stage at the moment. The investigations are continuing, the appeal for evidence, for people to come forward, still being renewed. As for where it leaves Andrew himself, he is still, we understand, living in exile almost on the King's private Sandringham estate, but it is putting a renewed pressure on the royal family as well. All these negative headlines do have an impact, and they do create yet more difficulties with this kind of ongoing constitutional crisis that drags the wider royal family into it. It was interesting hearing Prince William on breakfast radio this morning from the Isles of Scilly, very happy to talk about his family, with one notable omission, and that was his uncle. Nothing said there. So I think, look, where are we? Well, the investigation continues. It continues at some pace, but that pace does not mean we'll hear anything for possibly months or even years to come.
Laura, in the newsroom, thank you very much indeed.